All right, y'all. How y'all doing out there? It's the GameFi podcast where we talk everything gaming, arts, music, esports, and film. It's your boy, it's your dude, it's your guy, Coach E in the house, Crane Violet. That's my Wu-Tang name. We're doing it up. LivehiphopDaily Studios. Brought to you by Pharaoh's Conclave, PCX Go. Practice with Coach E. That's one of my new things I'm gonna start. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start today after I leave here. I'm gonna do a little snippet. That's on Instagram where I'm gonna talk to folks and let them know what I do and just kind of see things through my eyes as an entrepreneur, as a father, coach, just youth minister. I wear a lot of hats, but that's gonna be cool today. So today I have a special guest in the house. I'm going to bring him on stage real soon. But thanks again for joining us. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're not going to take a lot of time. We're just going to hit it and quit it. Make sure we catch up with everybody. This is season 2. We actually had some snow the other day. And then, we're going to talk a little bit about health as well because I had a health issue. Nothing major, but it definitely kept me from being able to come in the other day. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And, just kind of catch up to where we are. We're still in the month of January in the 2-2. So we want to make sure everybody is staying safe out there, doing what you need to do, but staying consistent and on your grind. So again, here we go. Yeah. Gaming segment. GameFi podcast. Gonna have a lot of fun. I love this song right here. It just takes me back to being a little kid in the arcade or playing Sega at home in the den. We used to have the floor model TV, the big old TV floor model, man. And I was killing it on that game, boy, I tell you. Back in the day. But welcome again to the GameFi podcast, season 2 of the GameFi podcast, where we talk everything gaming, arts, music, esports, and film. We're in the gaming segment. We're going to talk a little bit about gaming right now, and really talk about some big news that hit the gaming industry on yesterday. And then we're kind of going to go from there. But before we do, as the music fades out, appreciate you, DJ Scratch and Sniff, for fading that music out all perfect like you just did. I'm going to introduce our guest for today. You've heard him in the background and a lot of what we do. I wanted to make sure we took an opportunity to actually get a chance to get him in on the podcast so everybody can know the face behind the scenes and the face of a lot of the content that we're putting up. That is awesome. So Jay Black on the stage. Jay Black, what's going on, brother?
How you doing?
Hey, man.
DJ Scratch and Sniff.
Hey, I'm doing what I can do when I can do it, you know what I'm saying? But man, it's good opportunity for us to bring you to the stage and introduce you to everybody. I don't know if they've heard about you, if they haven't, but today, we're going to try to help make sure that does happen. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Mr. Jabari Black.
My name is Jabari Blackman. I'm behind the scenes on a lot of stuff. I own a video production company, so I produce shows. I do a lot for small businesses, black businesses particularly, but I work with all businesses. But yeah, I do, video production. All your video production needs, that's what I bring.
Telling you that, hey, Jay Black is the go-to. Definitely the go-to on everything you need from that standpoint. And when y'all see me on my podcast and I'm looking off to my left, maybe it's your right, but you see me looking off, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Jay Black. He's right over there. He standing behind his little monitor and everything. He got it going on. He's really taking this to the next level. When I was scared, when my wife and I, Jaquita, when we were scared, we were talking about, really taking our podcast to the next level. We started in our house. We did a podcast originally. It was called Married to the Business. And, we were trying to talk about relationships and marriage and, business, being business owners and being partners together in business, which we probably going to dust off and maybe reimagine how that's going to look. But, we were doing it at home. And so it was cool. But we knew we wanted to kind of really take it to the next level, especially because in the digital area, everything was, had video and had all these different things, but we were kind of scared. It was like, what is it going to look like? But we stepped out there. We were on Connecting the Dots. Is that the one we came on? Yeah, Connecting the Dots. Shouts out to Connecting the Dots. Shouts out to Kimmy Coco. as a part of the Live Hip Hop Daily family as well. You know, we came in the studios and we was like, look, what does it take for us to be a part of this? And so we joined the family, and it's been great ever since. And, you know, Jay Black, you know, doing thing. Yesterday, speaking of gaming, yesterday there was a big announcement that Microsoft, they bought Activision Blizzard and some of their studio. So the company and the games they created, they bought it, right? And they bought it to the sum of $68 billion, would it be billion dollars, right? Which is amazing. Amazing. And a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people on Instagram, a lot of people, you know, were like, what do y'all think about this? You know, this will look like. And then we started to get phone calls from people. See, when you start to put money behind stuff, it's like, you know, people pick up on it. They pick up on it. So you hearing about me saying they spent $68 billion to buy a gaming studio. What does that make you think of?
I feel like it was a smart move because what is Halo Activision? What games are under that? I know Xbox had exclusive rights with certain games already.
Right. So I know. Like, so they had some of the old school games. I know Diablo was one of them. Mm-hmm. Gosh. Oh man, if I could find that post.
I mean, I think it's
like it's a good number of titles that Activision had. Now, if they
was Spider-Man under that?
It may have been, but if they bought the studio, I'm thinking more than likely they got their whole catalog of games. Yeah. Now, Activision has been in the gaming as a gaming studio for a long time. I'm talking about this go back to before Atari. Mm-hmm. You know, Activision was doing a lot of the arcade games and a lot of those. So they've been in this game for a long time. And so by them buying the studio, I'm thinking they got, you know, license to all the titles. I'm thinking, you know, you never know. It could be somebody like, you know, Michael Jackson bought the Beatles and they might have sold stuff. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. But, you know, that's major in that. So, you know,
I think it's a big play, especially because we both know that their biggest competitor is Sony, PlayStation. Mm-hmm. Sony is they're big, like they got a huge, because Xbox is Microsoft, so I guess Microsoft is still huge, but I mean I think it's a good deal. It reminds me of something like what Netflix is doing, like buying like their own house, creating their own original.
Exactly.
And I think it's just another way for them to create exclusive games for Xbox.
It is, and it's interesting because then that's that exclusivity. You know, Apple does that; they're very exclusive with what they do. Mm-hmm. You know, Sony will have rights like that. You know, so it helps them to be competitive with that. And they started out doing this thing called Mixer on a streaming service Microsoft had called Mixer. Didn't do it. It fizzled out, right? So it was interesting that they decided to. Now acquire Activision, and I think Facebook is with Microsoft now, isn't it? Did they buy Facebook? What did they buy? Or is it instant? Well, okay, I get it mixed up.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I know Facebook.
No, Facebook Gaming. Yeah, Microsoft bought Facebook and they started Facebook Gaming. The reason why I know I was on a meeting with some folks from from Microsoft, and they were asking me did I want to, you know, get in contact with people at Facebook Gaming. They were like, do you know anybody over there? This, that, other. So I was like, nah. I was like, go ahead and hook that up. But you know, so Facebook has already been in the kind of the online social media streaming kind of area. So now Microsoft don't have to think about that. Mm-hmm. They have acquired the company that could do that. They bought, I ain't gonna say acquired, they bought the company. Acquire, you just suck them in. No, they bought the company. A friend of mine, and I don't know if you know this, it's a saying in like business, it's like the ABCs, you know, when you're trying to start a business or start a company, you either acquire the talent, acquire the skills, you buy or barter the skills or the talent, and then the C, I don't know what
create.
The C.
I would think create.
Is it create?
I mean, that's.
Maybe that is what it is. That makes sense. Right, yeah. Right. You create it. You make it yourself. Mm-hmm. Right. And I don't know. I'm gonna talk back to him, my boy Mario. He said, and I had heard it before, and I was actually talking to my students earlier today when we were just kind of, you know, I started my esports one-on-one class with my students. You know what? I'll talk a little bit more about that in the esports segment. I was trying to figure out what I was going to talk about. there you go. We're gonna talk about my class and my students and what we're doing at Morris Brown and what we're doing in the community as well when it comes to esports on that front. But yeah, he said that, and I was talking to him that, you know, you got to kind of do that. So for a company, and, you know, I heard a story. Now, I don't know if it was true or not. I think it's true. Sound about right to me. But, you know, Bill Gates was, you know, meeting with some muckety mucks over there in Silicon Valley. And somebody was like, hey, do you by any chance have a operating system in what you do? You know, and the story goes that Bill Gates was like, yeah, I have one. He walked out the building, went down the street and bought. He bought DOS operating system, because you getting a lot of personal computers, and DOS was becoming more and more the operating system that a lot of them were using. And so he ended up buying DOS and put MS on the front of it. And that was like the original Microsoft product, Microsoft DOS operating system that you could load into your computers to do what you needed to do, because it had all of that back end set up that you needed to do. And now every personal computer, for the most part, has Microsoft, you know, products already.
Is Windows the operating system?
Windows is the operating system now. So it went from DOS and eventually became Windows from there. So, but it was cool. But to be able, first of all, to have the resources to be able to do that, you know, that's huge. That's number one. But then number two, to know, to look in the face of somebody in the negotiating table and say, yes, I can do that, leave, and then go pick that up and make it happen. Yeah. So that's trick of the trade. Listen, if y'all out there, y'all trying to do something, somebody be like, now you do it within reason. Now somebody asks you if you can do some stuff that, you know, you can't do and it's way expensive to do it. Well, still even say yes. Still say yes to it, and then do some research on how you put it together, cost. Now, if it's something that you can float, if it's something that you can do, then by all means, you be like, make it happen. But if it's something you can't do, then find out, okay, we can't do it. You know, we got to go down the, you know, I'll meet back with you. I'll circle back around or something like that. Go down the rabbit hole, figure out what's going on, and then come back to it at the least. So, for instance, somebody say, come up to me, we would like for Pharaoh's Conclave to produce our podcast. Yes, we can do it.
You got the resources to do it.
Got the resources to do it. Yeah. Not that I'm going to pay, but I know who to go to.
Right.
Plug, shameless plug.
That under what you got going on.
Exactly.
You
have the mechanism.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
got the resources and the mechanism to make it happen. I go to them, this is the price. You know, and then we do what we do, and we bring in, and this is where you show up and do what you do, you know, because, you know, now I wouldn't have been able to do that some years ago. And I was like, okay, that'd be cool to do, and just keep it in your back pocket, because everybody comes up with great ideas about how to do stuff. We do things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and move this on over to the art.
I guess, I mean, before we do get out of there, how you feel about the acquisition? Do you feel like it's, I mean, I know you probably heard more, so do you feel like it's something that's going to be beneficial?
I think it's beneficial because, I'm glad you asked me that. I think it's beneficial because we received some comments and some messages via email and on Facebook and some other stuff where people were like, man, did you hear this? Did you hear this? And they coming to us because they know that we like the only people they knew that were actually in the gaming industry that's been talking about gaming for over 5 years now. And so he was like, okay, I see where it's going on. Congratulations to us. They were congratulating us like we made the acquisition. But I understand the congratulations came from knowing that they know that we're in an industry that's on the move, that we're a part of it, and we're not new to the industry that's on the move. We've been in it for a while. So the stuff that we said was going to be happening is coming to fruition. So they're like, okay, sound like I think y'all have a pulse. So that lets me know that there could be some opportunities coming down the pipeline for projects or programs or things of that nature. Now we have to do less education on our side because they seeing this big old $70 billion transaction happening with video games. And now they were like, man, somebody just came to us saying they wanted us to start a video game program. Well, obviously it's money there. So it helps us for the fact that we have to do less education. They see the money there. They see the industry there. So when we're talking to parents, students, school districts, park and rec, colleges, anybody who is interested in, bringing that as an opportunity for their customers, their consumers, their students, whoever they're serving, since we've been talking about it, they'll come to us first.
Right. And I was just thinking that, like, even when you were kind of explaining everything, I think you guys are ahead of the curve, because even with all this virtual reality talk, like those are looked at as video. Those can be looked at as video games.
Oh, they are. They definitely are.
Characters and stuff built like that. So, and I feel like just the more I think about it, the world is really going towards that. Like I listened to a podcast and I heard a guy, he was saying that I put the glasses on and I'm sitting courtside at the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that'll be dope. Like, I called my homie out in Cali. Like, bro, let's go to a game tonight, but we really on the. And I think, I'm starting to buy in more into that being a reality.
It is. The Hawks were working on that probably 3 years ago. They were already trying to, pull that technology. And I went to, they had a town hall meeting, and they were just trying to talk about technology and where things were going. So the NBA, though, as a whole, has always been on the cutting edge of, incorporating technology to what they're doing to their whole product line, to the bottom line. And it's serving them well because they've been able to weather the storm, more than some other places have. Like, they were able to quickly, for better or worse, depending on who you talk to, during COVID, to have games still do the bubble type of deal, to do they NBA 2K gaming, right? That they've incorporated that, whereas, some of the other leagues haven't really incorporated their video game into what they do as a part of what they of their everyday business practices, which I don't understand why not yet, but it's coming. When you see this $68 billion, who gonna look at that? Team owners. They all about that money.
They're gonna start charging. Like, I think right now he was saying it's free, but they're gonna start charging. It's gonna be a certain price. It might not be as much. It might be half of what the original cost is. But again, that's an opportunity. These owners are essentially selling 2 seats or 1 seat for 2 or whatever I'm trying to say. But
no,
they're selling it twice. They're selling 1 seat
actually,
twice.
It's more than selling 1 seat twice, because what it is you set up a rig in a specific seat. Now you selling hundreds, thousands, right? You can have as many people buy that 1 seat.
Man, that's crazy.
So I mean, that's where that's at football games, baseball games, basketball games, soccer games. And I think it doesn't matter.
It's the comfort of your own home. Like,
yeah,
I get to watch this game. I get to feel this experience from my house.
And just even if it was like just $20, something crazy like that. Well, the thing that has to catch up is the hardware. Right. They got to have, if it's going to be on the Quest 2, the Oculus, if that's what you're going to do, or HoloLens, whatever it is you're going to use to put on to watch it, you got to have that technology. But those things, that's getting closer and closer and closer. Yeah. So, $20, 1,000 people, $20,000 for 1 seat.
And it's going to be way more than
for 1 game. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? But that's a court-side seat. So it's like, shoot, they're going to tear your head off. But I would suggest they don't, because it allows somebody to get that experience. So you don't want to price people out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you keep it relatively reasonable to have a court-side seat, and that's the draw. People are still going to come and be on the court side, but the draw is now you can spend for that. But then this is all gaming technology, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's all behind all of this. And that's the cool part with that kind of a acquisition, knowing that, metaverse, they talking more and more about that. They doing all of this stuff with VR, AR. It's becoming more and more accessible for folks to do on that side, man. So, oh man, yeah, we had actually pretty good doggone segment right there. I'll take that. I'll take that for $1. RoboCop. I don't know if y'all know that reference. How about that for $1? But here we go. Yeah. All right. Going into the art and animation segment. Getting ready at the GameFi podcast season 2, where we talk everything game and arts, music, esports, and film. GameFi in the house. Coach E, Jay Black, we're making it do what it do here at the Live Hip Hop Daily Studios. This is gonna be a fun segment. We're gonna delve into the inner Jay Black kid version of Jay Black and get him to reminisce on a couple of different things. Because I know this is gonna be some interesting feedback I get on some of these questions. But here we go. I'm just gonna jump right into it. So Jay Black, I did not ask you the first question that I asked everybody else. I did it on purpose because you've been sitting here. I know you probably thought I wasn't thinking about it, but I have been. When did you first fall in love with video games?
As far as the system, it definitely was Sega.
Okay.
Sega was the first system I had, and as far as the game, it was Tecmo Super Bowl.
Oh man, Tecmo Bowl, man.
I think that was my
go all the way to the first of all. If you get Bo Jackson, it's a wrap.
And I had Emmitt Smith.
Okay.
I used to play with Emmitt Smith, and he was almost unstoppable.
Yeah, man, that was just ridiculous how that was. And then the other part is you run all the way to your end zone, and you throw that Hail Mary, and it would work every time. I was like, man, this is such a glitch in the game, but it made it fun.
You run to one side of the field, and you come all the way back across.
Yeah,
you get everybody to come to this side,
and you see, man, it was fun. But I mean, but to see where we are now with Madden. And stuff like that. Even with 2K or hockey or whatever, all those sport games have come a long way since in the beginning, where where it was doing all kind of different things. Shouts out to John Madden that passed. Recently. He was in that franchise. I remember playing Joe Montana football on Sega.
I remember that.
And I think John Madden was the person who did a lot of that commentary, and I want to say that might have been what evolved into Madden football from there, because they did that whole commentary. So it was pretty cool to see how they were blending and putting that together, and the technology in the football games was getting better and better.
And to see like the monopoly that Madden has had, and then for a minute like NBA Live.
Yeah.
2K was terrible back then. Like 2K was terrible probably like up until like 07 maybe.
They put the money in it.
They started off on Dreamcast. I think they started with 2K started on Dreamcast, and I never played it, and now I don't play NBA Live.
It's interesting, and you know what? The NBA Live was the only one of the games that had WNBA players on it until 21, I believe. Either 21 or 20 is when 2K brought in WNBA as a part to be able to play with it. So I did a season. Mm-hmm. I did a season, and we all over the place, but I did a season. I did first with the Hawks, and then I did the Dream. I just want to play it. And then I could see development-wise that it's a little bit, they didn't put a lot of development behind the WNBA teams as they did with the NBA side. So it has to catch up a little bit, but I mean, it still played a little bit. They also got to do a little bit of work on their graphics too, as far as what the young ladies look like, the WNBA players. So it's a little bit more representative of what they look like, and it's not blocky. Still a little bit rudimentary on the graphics there. But to see that you're getting that both sides, the male and the female side of the sport, being represented is pretty cool. So, arts, animation, like what anime are you watching? I know you watch some anime.
I wouldn't really say I'm the biggest anime. I mean, of course, growing up, I used to watch like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
I would catch Dragon Ball Z. I think we talked about it before. I guess Boondocks is considered an anime.
Yeah.
Watch Boondocks. That's really all I can think of. Like a lot of stuff I watch, like is more reality based. Like I like docs and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I can't say that I watch too much anime.
So that's art. The cinematography. Like I know you do shows, right? Who would you say are your influences and how you put your shows together, or how you with the camera angles and how you do all that? Where do you get that from?
I get a lot of, it's a lot of content out there. If I were to say overall, like when I first started, I always kind of looked up to HBO, the network.
Okay.
Because it's always kind of like clean, it's real good content. And I would say that's a lot of my motivation. As far as like the shots, I really just be trying stuff. You know, it just because a lot of this is how you feel. It's my expression. So a lot of it is based on how I feel. You know, what feels good to me, and a lot of when I create, of course it's standard things that you try to get, but when I create, I just kind of go off the feeling. Like, so when you watch it, you know, like, because like when you watch a Spike Lee, you know this is a Spike Lee movie.
Right.
When you watch an innovative black production, I want you to know like. This is innovative black. So,
okay.
It's kind of more of my feeling. It's kind of more feeling.
I got you. All right, cool. What about traditional art? You know, what do you like to, if you go to like maybe in the art galleries or things like that, what do you like to kind of look at? Kind of what style of art?
I guess in my house now, I like things that has a message. Like I got it was actually a guy, he came on Connecting the Dots. And I want to say, I know he did a painting on the show, but I don't know if this was the exact one, but it's the Huey P. Newton when he's sitting in the chair, but he painted that. So
okay.
that the message behind that, this is a Black Panther, what this represents. I guess it would be considered abstract art.
Okay.
So where it's like, it may look like something, but it's something else, or it may, because what I got in my house, I got like it's a paintbrush. But at the top of the paintbrush, like the bristles, is like the music volume things.
Oh,
so,
okay, gotcha.
Just things like that.
okay.
I just like things that make you think. In my bathroom, I got the movie Friday.
Yeah.
But it's like a oil based painting. But it's when they in the bathroom. But it's sitting right on my toilet, and then Craig, he got his hand over his mouth.
He's sitting in with his daddy.
Spraying it. Yeah. So I like stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that art with messages. I'm real eclectic when it comes to artwork. I'm like you said, when you do your camera shots, it's what feels good, what speaks to me. So I know we have in my house we have like a lot of African inspired art, African cultural inspired art, and then African American culture inspired culturally inspired artwork as well. Jean-Michel Basquiat is, we have a card table book of his, and we have some prints from him that's up. African masks, shadow boxes, where they did some creative things with that. Patterns. They used to have, they still do, I'm sure, but there's an art festival, Atlanta Art Festival they have all the time. Used to always be, especially they'd have exhibits at South DeKalb Mall, and then they have exhibits at Greenbrier. It'd be the same folks, and so we would always go there. And these are the malls in our neighborhood, right? So we would frequent them, and when they have it, so we get like the statues, sculptures, stuff like that, things that good conversation pieces. But we want to support everybody. I also started to one of the things I like is like when they take old shirts and they do stuff with it, or they do stuff with shirts. I like that, like stuff they say, sayings and things like that. So yeah, I'm with you on that. But again, it's what speaks to me, what feels good. Not, me and my wife, because I don't stay at home no more, so I can't just go grab, dogs playing poker and just bring it in and think that's gonna fly. I gotta have that conversation.
I did. I was at some show, but I saw it was a piece of art. It was so dope. It was Kobe, his face, but the art was made out of a basketball. Like the whole thing, it's usually a paint or something like that, but everything was made out of basketball, and it was the shape of Kobe's face. So nice. I like stuff like that. I want to, eventually get into stuff like that. I know it's gonna be expensive, but I
little collector's items. Yeah.
I plan to invest, in the future.
Now, remember, I think we had a few weeks back, we had the guy that was talking about the NFTs and whatnot. So, are you thinking, when you talk about investing, is that a possible way that you might want to go? Because I've been hearing a lot of mixed feelings about that. You should do it and you should not do it, and why. What do you think?
Personally, I'm just still having a hard time understanding it.
Yeah.
But it's funny that you brought that up, because we were talking before the show. So my Bengals, they won their playoff game, right?
Yeah.
It was the first game they won in 30 years. And I got to thinking, the last play of the game, the guy caught the interception to win the game.
Right.
I'm like, that would be an NFT I would buy. Because I know that's going to be something that gets played all the time. And from my understanding of NFTs, I get royalties off of that.
Right.
So I know, like, okay, this is something that I know is going to get played. This is going to be a highlight thing because it was a monumental moment.
Right.
So, but as far as like artwork, I'm still trying to understand it. Because I just feel like I can print this off if I want it.
Yeah, it's you know, and so some of the backlash on the NFT movement is because it's in blockchain. It depends on cryptocurrency, and you have to mine that. And now there's a carbon footprint when it comes to doing that because there's a lot of energy and power usage for mining the information because you gotta in order to blockchain is built on puzzles to make sure that the computers solve all these complex puzzles to verify, I guess, that it's decentralized and all that good stuff. I'm still learning too, but I did understand. So I do understand that there are warehouses full of these machines that are doing this, that are mining. And they do have output of heat, and they do take up a lot of energy and a lot of power to do what they do because they have to do it like these are complex things, so they do it like all day for some days, right? To do the whatever process to go through to make sure that coin, and you get money based on the time or something. I don't know how that, but the NFTs have to be verified and all that kind of stuff, and they go through that same process. And they do an output. So that's been a lot of the backlash because they're saying it's not sustainable. It's very, it's not eco-friendly, the process that you have to go through to do that. But like I know you could do it. Like you said, that picture, right? It's going to get replayed. Like we see Jordan, throwing his hands after he shot the winning shot. Like, right. If somebody could have bought that piece and then be able to own that moment in time, I guess. I don't know. I'm like, how do you keep that from being? You can't keep it from being counterfeited and mass produced. Yeah. But how do you make that? Because I mean, that's my thing. Because I know you got to have NBA license to do this, that, and the other. And I guess you got to get the footage from there. But no, you don't. If I recorded it, I got it.
And I was gonna say, I feel like that would kind of. I feel like NFTs, even now that you just saying it, just made me think about it. It might start taking away from iconic moments, iconic pictures, because it's like, all right, people buying these up, and it's like, all right, it might even erase history in a sense,
because somebody owns that
like,
image.
Yeah,
right.
People can't just use it. Like even now, if you really think about it, like all the stuff that we put on social media can be considered NFTs,
right?
But they just take it off social media and use. Like you can see the news there, just take somebody post off social media.
And then man, that's when I saw that. First of all, TMZ, shout out TMZ, because they were laughed at. They were thought to be like the smut social media, the smut news channel. They were like worse than the National Enquirer. They were not respected. But doggone it, it ain't true. If it ain't on TMZ, if TMZ ain't saying it, then it ain't true. People are using them as a primary source for information, and it's crazy how that just changed that trajectory. So anything is possible, I
still don't understand it. I'm still trying to understand it. Really.
Yeah,
that's it. That's my only fight with NFTs.
That's what we got to continue to do. So right now, we got our, I don't know, we gonna see. I mean, we'll find out. I mean, with the acquisition that we talked about with Xbox getting Activision, I mean, some more stuff. I think I was looking at the first pieces that was considered NFT. It was like a elementary schooler could have done this digital drawing of a cat on a rocket ship or something crazy.
And see, that's what
and like I think it's millions of dollars for that. I'm like, wait a minute.
I think it's more, when I think of NFTs, it's just more so about bragging rights. It's just like a collector's thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but it ain't nothing that.
But how many people really in the collector's market like that for real?
Right. I mean, I guess I would consider myself a collector because I haven't bought one in probably like 2 years, but I was still buying physical CDs.
Right.
And I still got the booklets and all that. Even like Nipsey Hussle CD.
Right.
I bought his CD, but I never opened it.
But see, that has a serial number on it, right?
Oh, true.
And then
true.
And they, because like every time somebody win a national championship, you got these companies that make, they made bats for the World Series. Georgia just won. They got commemorative football that they doing, and they sell them, but they doing like limited runs. I think they did like 1,000 or 5,000 of them. And so you get the statement, a certificate of authenticity, and like they do with coins or anything else. See, with a CD, you got it. It's a physical object. You got it. It's there. This digital doggone thing, I mean, you got to wrap your head around it. And I understand because we had to get people to wrap their head around esports. Now it's blown up, right? So, I mean, you know.
I think it's just lack of understanding. Even cryptocurrency is the same way.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's just, I'm behind, which, you know, I'm a laggard in this situation. I'm an innovator on this side, but I'm a laggard when it comes
but
to
that's all, and that is okay. You stay in your lane, and then, you know, you learn about other lanes, and then you can move over there. Exactly. So let's move this, and that being, we're going to segue right over into the music segment. Hey. I ain't do that right. I got to press it. Hold on. There it is. All right, DJ Scratcher, we had to get my still. I had to put my other hat on. There it is. Yeah. Music segment. GameFi podcast. Hey. Break it down like, woo. Here we go. GameFi podcast, everything game, arts, music, esports, and film. We're moving over into the music segment. We just got through talking about some art and digital art and things of that nature. Now we're going to talk about some more art. Music is art. And I've talked to a few people a couple of weeks. Last episode really was with somebody that put music in the game, and he did things. So I've been bragging about him and the stuff that he's doing, and I've been meeting some other folks who are interested in doing some education around music and really getting young folks understanding what happens on that. And I talk about, you know, my wife's interested in music technology and really figuring out on that end some things to do. But, you know, production is production. You know, we doing a podcast, but just as easily I could be on here singing and doing the things, or making music, or we could be talking about music on the podcast, which we are in this segment. We here, Live Hip Hop Daily Studios. Favorite music, Jay Black.
As far as genre,
yeah. Or
I think
give me the tops.
I think it's definitely hip hop, but like I feel like in the last year or two, I kind of just been kind of getting away from hip hop.
Okay.
Just because of like the frequencies, like the vibes of the, like, I don't know. It's just sometimes I just don't be wanting to hear that. I don't want to hear that all the time. So I would say more soul is really definitely one of my favorite. You know, like the I'm from Cincinnati with the Izzy brothers and all those type of guys. I like that.
Okay.
And I like R&B, but I like women's R&B.
Okay.
Cause I like when women be telling them how they want to treat a man. You know, I like all that.
You know what?
I like hearing that.
I think recently we've been listening to a lot of old school, and we listen to everything, but recently when it comes to even hip hop, you know, we kind of really been listening to old school. Have you checked out that new television series, Queens? It's got Brandy in it, and they was like a girl group.
Oh, nah, I know exactly what you're talking about because they called me to work the set. But
okay. Hey, being filmed here in Atlanta. All right, then.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
They filmed.
Matter of fact, they are here because they talk about being in Atlanta all the time.
Yeah. But I never watched it.
Okay. It's pretty interesting. We were watching some of it, and just, you know, it's kind of like they picked up on the, you know, the part of, what was the name of it? With oh my God, with the Lions. What's the name of that? The TV show? Oh my God. Empire.
Yeah.
So you know how the wife started to do her brand, and it was empowering for women. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like they picked up on that vibe, and they did, they're doing that. So they starting a label to empower women. You know, they want singers and everything. They starting from bottom. They were old artists. They coming back, you know, want to be relevant. Their lives changed, and they were doing some other stuff. Now they back, you know, trying to do what they wanted to do after they went all kind of different directions. So it was very interesting to kind of see where they're going with that. So it's a good show. If you want to check it out, I suggest everybody get a chance. Check out Queens. It's a pretty good show. It's interesting. I like to see where it goes on those episodes. But when they talk about music and the authenticity and the purity of hip hop or R&B or whatever, it's like really it was one scene where they were kind of like trying to sign an artist, right? And so they were going through, Spotify or whatever they was using to try to see if they could find somebody. And, one of them went and found a young lady that she was on a set in the show with, that sung R&B. So at first they were like they was gonna do hip hop, but they knew they needed to diversify and all that stuff. Then they were looking at other people and they were like, these folks trash on there because it's so much on there. But then, the under their nose was somebody, her daughter, Brandy's daughter, that's on the show. She was rapping or whatever. But the flow and how she did it really actually sounded pretty good. But speaking of Empire, though, I appreciated the soundtrack, the music that they produced on Empire. That actually, some of those songs sounded pretty good.
Yeah, it is. And that's the music is probably the most important thing in video, in film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going through that right now, like in this exact moment. That's probably one of the biggest challenges I'm going through and that's why I'm trying to change my music taste.
Gotcha.
Because it's like I can't make every show with hip hop beats. I have to get in different realms. And that's why, like, I've even been listening to I think his name Hans Zimmer. You familiar with Hans Zimmer?
Mm-mm.
But basically, he scores, like, he do all the Batman movies, the Dark Knights.
Yes. Okay,
movies.
I got you.
So I've been trying to listen to, like, him and just kind of get in it, his mind, get inspiration from him when it comes. But right now, I'm actually doing a cooking show.
Okay.
So of course, you got to have those. You have to. The music has to grab you
and keep you engaged and pull you in and take you up and down, with the drama. So exactly.
I thought I had it, but I sent it to my client and she's more like, it's still not really. So it's just a challenge, and I'm okay with that challenge. Mm-hmm. But it's just, that's why I'm really trying to, I guess, expand my, consistently expand my music.
Right.
Library.
That's good. That makes sense. And then again, people don't think about that, but music is a part of everything that we do. You can't watch a TV show; it's not gonna have music. You can't watch a movie; you can't listen to the radio without music, of course. But I mean, everything, there's music almost in the background of everything that we do throughout life. So to understand that you have to, think outside the box. You figure out those different things because that's an interest that I know Jaquita has, that interest of being a scorer. She had a song because, she's a songwriter. She had a song actually placed in a movie long time ago that she came up with. But that's what those folks do. They go out and find those songs, or they compose them themselves. So it's a couple different schools of thought when it comes to that. They'll use them, and that usually it comes with an expense. When you go out there and acquire somebody else's song to put in there, you got to pay for it. Mm-hmm. But if you make it yourself, you ain't got to pay for it, you know what I'm saying? You get paid at the end for when that gets played, if it goes on the soundtrack or whatever. But it's music undergirds everything in life.
It's a universal language.
Yeah.
Like, music is for whatever mood. You can go listen to music. Like, when sometimes I might be in a bad mood, but it's just like, all right, I'm going to just go listen to some music. Or I might need some inspiration. I'm going to go listen to some music. Like, even when I edit, before I edit, like when I'm just organizing the files, and just watching, like, because of course you got to look through all your music,
right,
all your files to see what you got. While I'm doing it, I have some headphones on. The video will be playing. Like, I edit with music on.
Okay.
And then I'll go back and listen to it like that but while I'm editing, I kind of got music on just to kind of give me a little bit of inspiration. So yeah, definitely music is important.
Well, you hear the music that we chose. It took a while for us to figure out the music that we wanted for each one of the segments, and we landed on it. It took us a good couple, 2-3 days to kind of, first of all, we grabbed all the music that we wanted to use. So there's some other tracks that we heard that were pretty cool, but then we were like, okay, nah. Then we had to, after we got all the tracks, like you said, then we looked at the segments and we said, okay, which songs sound like it's that? And so we we started out, we picked songs to the genres. We said, okay, that sound like gaming, maybe not. And then, we went from there. So, but it's very important. I think, it helps the flow. Like you said, it helps the flow of everything that goes on there. So,
even when I did put the music, like I was feeling it. Like of course, and it's a competition. So when the time was running down, I put some suspenseful music.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching it, I'm kind of into it. Like, man, like.
Well, that's what you want. You want that emotion, and that's what music does. It strikes the chords to evoke those emotions inside of you. You want that, and I mean, you know, a good movie will do that. The ones that suck you in for real. It's because the movie. I mean, thrillers. I mean, if you're watching a horror movie, you're not gonna get scared if you don't hear that.
Yeah,
you know,
if
that
there's
little
some happy music going on, and Michael Myers chasing.
And he tell you, he's like, sunshine in the city. You're not gonna feel that, but it's gotta be, you know, Michael Myers. I remember we used to play that. Just 4 keys for the most part, and you Jaws the same way. You know, that was like, I mean, that was it. I mean, they really hit the nail on the head when they came up with those different parts and pieces. But yeah, so I know that's one of the things we want to do, especially like I said with our conference and stuff. You know, we are very big on training the next generation of professionals in digital entertainment. So be it music or film or gaming or whatever, art, animation, you know, we're trying to do that. So a lot of people I've been talking to have said they want to start to teach. They've been in the industry, they've done a lot of different things, but they want to teach because there's a set of fundamentals that have to be learned no matter what you do. You got to learn the fundamentals. And so it's not just about, you know, getting a laptop out or getting a beat machine and just making it and doing it. You got to know structure, right? You got to know all the different things to put together to actually make it worth something. And so, you know, starting at that level and then adding on top of that. So if they want to become a musician, that's fine. But let's really talk about the fundamentals of music itself. You know, let's really think about that to get you some inspiration as well. Because, you know, who inspires you is you got to open up. You got to listen to classical and rock and country and hip hop. You know, those are going to be the things that you need to bring to the table. So people are, I think there's an opportunity there, especially even with music festivals, you know, getting a chance for people to hear the music that people are making. You know, I would love to put together some competitions. That's not my lane. I know some people who do showcases and are trying to do that. So, you know, shouts out to Mama Moore. She was on one of the podcasts, that's Zion's mom, last season 1. And what they're doing with her organization. They're doing some amazing stuff, but I know down at Morris Brown, Jerome Rowland, he has some showcasing and stuff. So I like that. You know, if I can bring something to a young person and give them an opportunity to get out there, because I mean, I want them to know whether or not they're good or not. First of all, they got to get in front of the bright lights and get put on the spot, if you will. But then also just to be in an environment for networking purposes, to say, okay, ooh, I like the way they're doing. I like the way they're carrying themselves. They give you something to inspire you to be or not to do, and how to work harder at your craft and what you're trying to put together. So, you know, I'm always going to bring it back to the education. That's the coaching me. We always going to pull it like that. So, man, we got some time going on here. Shoot.
Good conversation.
It's good conversation, man. So you know what time it is now. Moving on over to the esports. Hey, got my drum major coming out. Ooh. Morris Brown, alumni band. We're going to get them to be a part of our conference that we got coming on. So we're going to be looking at what they're doing and all that stuff. But welcome again to season 2, GameFi podcast, this episode where we are now going into the esports segment, but we talk everything gaming, arts, music, esports, and film. Sitting here with Jay Bleezy up in the house, doing this thing with the innovative Black Station. Did I say it right that time? I said it right? Okay. I just want to be sure, you know, because, you know, Black innovation, innovative Black, you know, to me it's all the same thing, but I want to make sure I'm talking about you and what you're doing, and we're going to kind of get into that a little bit more as well on some of the stuff you got coming up. We're going to say that for the film segment as we rounding this thing on up. But, you know, on the esports front, I was alluding to earlier, so I'm at Morris Brown College. I'm a professor of esports, so that's another one of my hats that I have to wear. I teach esports one-on-one right now. We have a esports degree program at Morris Brown College, and so it's a part of the business house on the global management and applied leadership degree. you can get a concentration in esports, and any other major, if they want to get a certificate in esports, they can add that 24 credits to what they're doing. So it's really exciting to get a chance to do that. Last year, we were building the Ronald Floyd Thomas Center for Esports and Innovation Center inside of at Morris Brown. So we had the equipment so the students can come in there. It's not just about playing games, but it's about the broadcast and all that stuff. So we built that all last year. So I deferred to this semester to start teaching. So I have about 5 students in my classes. I have 3 young men and 2 young ladies that are in our class, and we have a lot of fun. So they've been around this. They're interested in the industry, and so they all have different interests. So that's pretty cool to see. And so we're teaching it. I think we did our 4th class today. And so it's really giving them the foundations. I always go back to that first. That 101 is very important. You can't just, jump into esports, really. You really need to have a foundation to get a good understanding about what the industry is. So then you can figure out what it is you want to do within the industry. So we're working on that. So that's pretty fun. So we got season 3 of the Youth Esports League starts in about a month. We have kids from here in Georgia, South North Carolina, Louisiana, and Florida. They're going to compete in this K through 12. So we got elementary, middle school, and high school students that are going to compete. On the collegiate side, we have our minority serving institutions division. That is HBCUs, predominantly black institutions, predominantly minority serving institutions. So you have your Pacific Islander, tribal colleges, Latino, Latinx institutions, Hispanic serving institutions. So we want to make sure that they are being welcomed into the industry, which we are not. People of color are not being welcomed into the industry at a high rate. I think they are being told, well, I didn't say they, we're being told we got to fit a certain mold, but you don't have to. Bring your authentic selves, and then also figure out the entry points that exist and how to get started, and then find some pathways through. So that's what we help with the company, but that's what's needed. And so, you'll see a lot more about that. So we'll have that competition probably. We were scheduled for February, but this Omarion is getting folks, so we had to slow down on that. We're doing our conference virtually now. And so that means our competition is going to be virtually, but we're going to push it back a little bit because schools had to settle down. Some schools went back face-to-face, some didn't. But the cool part about it is ever since we announced what we're doing, we're getting more and more phone calls from, teachers starting programs at their school, starting they started programs at their school, they're starting teams at their school, they're being more cognizant about what they're doing. And then for Georgia, high school sports, it is a sanctioned athletic event. You can do that. You can ladder in esports. Yeah.
So what does I know you say you teach it at Morris Brown. So
Mm-hmm.
What does a college esport course look like? Like, what do I expect to come in this class? Is it more book work, hands-on, or what?
It is. So first of all, being that it's in esports and it's in the digital arena, you want to not make it like a traditional class. That's something that a lot of in the pedagogy in teaching just in general is going away from just being sage on the stage, you up there with book work, this, that, and the other. Not that you don't have book work or supplemental materials, but you're bringing more supplemental materials into the classroom. But for the esports 101 class, it's really a foundational class. And then from that, we have classes dedicated to the different parts of the industry. So first of all, you get your foundations of what that particular thing is. These pathways exist in other businesses anyway. So now you just got to make it esports focused. So just like with any traditional sport, instead of it being that sport, now you put video gaming on top of it. That's the focal point. But you still got the same production. You still got the same business, marketing, law that has to happen with that. And so it's really identifying and shedding the light on all of those different areas. And then because they're already interested in it, and now it's like, hey, you now can actually have a career in what you love, which is video gaming. And then so that's what that esports class looks like. And so you run the gamut from talking about business, talking about theory, talking about, industry trends. And then you go into, more specific ones. So if they want to do game design, of course you incorporate that. If they want to create, look at the hardware, so you incorporate that as a class they could get into, create projects for them to do. So if it's putting on a conference or putting on a workshop or putting on a competition, you do all of that. So then you talk about tournament management and team management, and you get to kind of delve into those. So it's more project based. And the cool part about esports is that's different from other sports. You can learn the behind the scenes of it and really be a part of the behind the scenes of it, as opposed to, being in football. Not everybody is going to really teach you how to be a football coach or teach you about the front office of a football team and all that kind of stuff. But with esports, you get to kind of do that. And then of course it's digital. So it's COVID proof. For the most part, or COVID resistant, I'll say, because when COVID hit, you couldn't do your face-to-face events, but you could do your digital events. So it's COVID resistant, I'll say.
It's funny you say that, because remember it was a time where, this is recession proof.
Yeah.
COVID proof.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be, because COVID hit a lot of people hard, man. Yeah. Folks in our industry, especially, when they were, all you did was face-to-face events, it wasn't enough for you to do. If you had a brick and mortar and you depended on people come in to play on the machines, you closed down because nobody was coming in to play on your machines. And then after things were opening up, they weren't trying to spend money to do that, because they ended up buying some of the equipment themselves in-house. So, you got to really figure out how to do that. But I think that's where the education and the workforce development programming on top of those type of environments helps those businesses to maintain and be able to sustain themselves through things like what we got going on right now. But I mean, esports is a big thing, man. Just 68 billion. That's a new reference point for me. Something big that happened in the industry. $70 billion. Now we've had teams like esports teams be bought for like millions of dollars. Nobody's been bought for no billions, but it's been millions. 100 million, something crazy. 3 feet.
It's coming.
It's coming because they're gonna be like how these up here, those pro teams or whatever, like regular stuff. But so that's what we're going to. That's where that's headed to. That's the state of esports right now. It's booming, man. I mean, the opportunities are, like I said, because of that, people start to take notice, and now they can't say, well, I don't know. Well, even if they say, like with NFTs, I don't know about it, but it's being talked about so much. It's in the news, it's in people's feeds. I'm seeing it on social media. It's got to be something to this thing that I got to figure out what it is, what's about, and can I get in on it or whatever.
Doesn't work for me.
Doesn't work exactly. Like, it might not. It might not. Yeah. But I mean,
if it's the future though, you're gonna have to.
You got to figure something out.
Smartphones, you had to hop on board.
You had to. So you couldn't jump out of it. You couldn't be like, nah, I'm not gonna get a smartphone. Yeah, eventually. And then it's funny because smartphones have reverted back to the flip phone, but now it's the flip phone that's different. It's the flip smartphone. So it's interesting. I was looking at one of the older deacons at my church. He had one. It's a smartphone, but it's a flip smartphone. But it's a flip phone like he's used to. So but everything is cyclical. It comes back around to everything. So with that being said, we're gonna slide on over to the film segments. Hey, GameFi podcast film segment. Here we go. Season 2 GameFi podcast. We'll talk everything gaming, arts, music, esports, and film. We are in the film segment. We're about to wrap this episode on up. Here on the film segment, I saved this segment because I wanted to jump into something real quick. I don't even really want to do a whole lot of talking on this one. I just want to hear what you got to say on this one, and I want to hear about what you're doing in production, in the filming that you have going on, because people think when you talk about film, it's just movies, but you talk about movies, television, streaming, shows, and all that. So we're going to get into that right now. I was a couple of days old, when I found out about this show that you have going on called Black Owned. Tell us a little bit more about that show.
So Black Owned was a show. It was an idea I created back in like 17. And I created that idea because I saw a lot of people just scrolling through social media and just have a conversation man, I don't know where to, it ain't no black business for this. I don't know where to go to find black businesses. Other people, don't nobody support black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing, taking all that information, it's like, oh, people just don't know where these places are at. And then once you Google it, it's a list here, a list here. It's really nothing consistent.
Okay.
And then, just me jumping in my nerd bag, I started doing my research, and I noticed that when it comes to reaching black people, specifically, we watch TV more than any other race.
That's right.
So I'm like, all right, let's take all that together, and let me just because my tagline is a visual directory of black-owned businesses.
Okay.
So I wanted to be a directory, but I wanted to be visual and entertainment, and it kind of goes with my company, entertainment, education, exposure. So it kind of came with that, and we did our first season, and I think it dropped in either 18 or 19.
Okay.
And we've been dropping ever since. We're in season 3 now. I highlight black businesses, handpick highlight black businesses, kind of go in store with them, hands-on with them. If it's a restaurant, we going in the kitchen with you.
Yeah.
Want you to make your top dish on camera. So it's fun. It's fun. I'm planning to expand right now. The first 3 seasons have been Atlanta-based, but season 4, I'm expanding. Like, it's going to be the only business I said that I'm going to do if I do Atlanta is going to be Magic City.
I know we talked about that the other day. And I'll say I talked with Jaquita, man. We watched a couple of the episodes, man. We really enjoyed it. The way that the stories were unfolding, the way that you and I like the camera angles. I talk about it a lot of time. I'm going to say it again. I like the way you artfully put it together. Different episodes. But then I also appreciated the variety of the companies that you looked at. It's not just your regular run-of-the-mill mom and pops, that everybody's used to seeing. It's a cornucopia, if you will, of companies that you exposed, and you got them a chance to get out and speak. And I could tell, this was the first time for a lot of those owners to be able to be in front of the camera, to be able to tell the stories, because story is essential. And then when we've been learning in all of the different cohorts that we've been in, to be able to tell your story about what it is you do and why you do it, helps people to connect and then want to, ride that journey with you. So kudos that you doing a bang up job. That's why I was telling you, I got a list of folks that we gonna definitely set you up with, because we know we see that as well. That's one of the reasons why we do the GameFi podcast, because we want to, and the reason why we do how we do with Pharaoh's Conclave and PCS Go, we want people to find out about these people who've been doing this for some time now, but people just don't know who they are and what they do. So we want to give them an opportunity to tell their stories, and why they do, what they do, how they do it, and why you should, join their journeys. It's very important. So the same reason why we want to do this, and the same reason you have the shows like Connecting the Dots and all them, it's really give people an opportunity. And that's why I love technology. It gives you an opportunity to level the playing field. See, like if we weren't doing this, you still probably wouldn't have a chance to hear about any of those businesses, about what they do, and where they are as well, and to see what those people look like. They look just like your auntie, your uncle, your sister, your brother, your mama, your dad. They look, so it helps you to connect on a bunch of different levels. So I do appreciate you for doing that show. And I know you said you had a whole bunch of other show ideas. It's a whole network you want to put together.
As I mentioned earlier, like I'm working on a cooking competition type show. So I got that. So the network, it has Black owned. That's one of the shows on the network. We have Connected the Dots, which you mentioned. So Black owned covers like entrepreneurship. The whole purpose of the network is just to empower Black people. If I had to simplify my why, that's what my why is.
Okay.
So all the content that I create is going to be centered around that. Connecting the Dots is, like I said, it's a news show, a news podcast, where basically we kind of dive into politics, but we speak it in our language. It's not like a fancy language, super pop. This is super.
You code switching, in other words.
Super casual conversation.
Yeah.
The cooking competition, it's fun, but it's teaching people how to cook. It's small, easy meals. The girl actually did it with I did her cookbook, so we kind of just expanding on the cookbook. I got a lot of other things. I got some docs. I've done docs before. Like I said, I've been making content. March 1st, I'm coming up on 7 years.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of content.
And I've had different shows over the years, but I got some docs in line that I want to do. I got some ideas I've already put together, put to paper. comedy. I got some comedy I want to do, and then eventually I want to get into, because like right now I make a lot of like reality stuff. I do want to get into like, I always get it confused. Is it fictional or non-fiction? What's the fake one? Fictional?
Fiction.
So I want to get into more fiction. I want to get into some fiction type things with, a story, a journey, stuff like that.
Some more scripted kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a writer though, so that's kind of where I would have to find somebody that's strong in that area.
Okay. What, like, fiction, what area of fiction? Are you trying to do science fiction or horror fiction or, what?
I'm not sure yet.
Or fantasy?
Sure. Probably science fiction.
Okay.
Probably science fiction, but I haven't thought that far yet.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see. I mean, we down. We always down. Figure out that, and I think when you was talking about shows, I think what we could do, because I'm always thinking, I'm hearing ideas, and I just put it out there, and I say, if I say it, then eventually I do it. So I can't, if it's in my mind, then don't nobody know that's on my mind. I'm thinking about it. But we had an idea, and I talked to you about this earlier. We have the idea of a spinoff. So we've been doing GameFi podcast. This is our second season. We were talking about the conference that's becoming virtual. But then we talked about stories, right? My wife and I, we were talking about stories, and nobody has these real stories. And we did some recaps, and we had a chance to interview some folks. We bring people on here, we interview them, and sometimes, but I think one of the episodes or parts of the episodes with Royal Lady that you put up had her by herself, and we actually got a chance to hear her and her story and just her story. And so we was like, listen, instead of, now we got to do a virtual conference, instead of trying to be like a same old conference, you got to try to, when you do stuff like that, it's got to be different. You can't do it regular old. You can't just take what was in person and put it on that. It's not going to work, just like with school. We're going to, those panelists that we were talking about, we're going to curate, we collect a bunch of stories from them, so they can tell us about who they are and what they do in our industry, in gaming, right? And all of the different things that we do. And it's going to shadow it's the segments of GameFi. We're going to talk to some people in gaming, people in the art world, music world, esports world, and the film world, digital entertainment, all over. We want to talk about all of them and what they do. And this is geared towards people of color, more so focused on Black and brown folks. We're going to have that. But then also we want to make sure that we talk about gender, right? We want to bring some of those powerful women to the stage and find out what they're doing, like her, because, who knows a female camera person like that's really doing their thing. So to hear that story and that journey, that's a huge thing. So, we trying to work on what the name of that's going to be. So we got the GameFi podcast, I don't know, after the cast or, play with games. So I need you all to help us out. Come, go to the GameFi podcast Instagram, check us out. Hit us in the DM, send us a message and what you think it should be called. Like, I don't know if it's the game continued or continue the game. I don't know,
I like the game continued.
So we figure out what that is. Extra life. Hey, there you go. So any kind of play on game, something like that, we'll figure it out. But man, it's been awesome, man. Jay Black, man, you doing the thing.
I appreciate you. Y'all doing. I like the the GameFi podcast. Even when we were talking about the music, like, I was telling somebody the other day that the thing I like about this show is that it's an audio journey. It's a journey with the music, and it kind of breaks it up. So I enjoy filming. I'm behind the scenes all the time.
We enjoy being here. We enjoy being here and you working on it, man, and then expanding what we're doing with you. That's the amazing thing about collaborating with folks. You start on one part of a project and you work with them, and then you start to come out with these ideas and you start to expand it and you see it and you see how it works and come differently. But that's how things grow over time. So like, this is season 2. Season 3 gonna look different. Season 4 gonna look different. And look up. We're gonna be 20 seasons down the road, and now we've added spinoffs and all these other different things are gonna come as a result of the work that we're doing here. So again, appreciate y'all for coming out. You know what time it is now. Here come the sirens. It's time to go ahead and take it to the crib. Thank y'all again for coming to the GameFi podcast, where we talk everything game, arts, music, esports, and film. It's your boy, your guy, your coach E, Crane Violet, Professor Thomas, Minister E, Pastor E. Got so many different names and things, but man, I just enjoy just talking with you all. So come back and join us. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. We'll have another one ready for you, and we'll start to get all of those other different things, those ideas, man. If you're interested in being a part of the show or being on the show, just reach out to us. It's definitely on our Instagram, GameFi Podcast, GameFi Podcast. You can hit us there. Reach out to us. I'm gonna put my government cell phone number out there, 442196545. I'm gonna see if you know what they used to say in music. You put your phone number out there, just blow it up, and you gotta change the number. I don't know. Make me change my number, 404-219-6545. That's my government number right there. Y'all hit me up. All right, we out of here. Practice what you preach and preach what you practice. That's the new show coming. Stay tuned.